Hello everyone, and welcome back to Filmtastic. Today, we're going to be looking at why the Avengers Endgame film was so successful. Well, besides being one of the greatest films of all time that is, let's get to it. After its fourth weekend, Avengers Endgame was the biggest grossing domestic hit in more than 3 years, with $771 million in North America alone. Its final achievement will be profound, but with other hit films being released later in this year, it's no longer driving the most business. So here's where we stand with some projections, records made, and context compared to others' huge hits. The final domestic gross is about $850 million. Now, no one can complain at $850 million, and at a minimum, Endgame will be the second biggest film in a decade that has seen the business turn itself over to blockbusters. It comes in an era where comic book titles, Marvel ones in particular, are a mature force. So while it's a great gross, it's less than what was anticipated after a record $357 million opening that suggested a $900 million total as the low end of a likely final take. Box office analysts use history, math, and multiples to guess totals, and at $850 million, the multiple will be just under 2.4. That compares to the 3.8 times for Star Wars The Force Awakens and 2.6 for Avengers Infinity War. The lowest for a Marvel film was Captain America Civil War, which fell just under 2.3. Also boosting hopes for Endgame was an A+ cinema score and a history of repeat viewings among core fans. Not adjusting for inflation, it needed to get to $937 million to topple Force Awakens, a film that benefited from Christmas playtime, fewer initial screens, and an arguably a stronger event factor as the reboot of a franchise. Global totals are now $2.6 billion, with another $200 million anticipated, so that means it'll easily clear $2.8 billion, and give it consideration as the biggest ever film. It will also reach just over or under $2 billion international dollars, which will have an impact on its all-time placements. The split will be around 70% foreign, 30% domestic. That's a lower foreign performance than Fast and Furious, Bond, and Harry Potter, but significantly above Star Wars, Disney Pixar animation, and comic book movies like Black Panther, Wonder Woman, and Captain Marvel that veered from white male heroes. When it opened at $357 million, that represented 89% of the total for all films that weekend, an all-time high. It had more theatres and more total screens and seats than any film in history, with showtimes covering at least 18 hours a day for the first weekend. However, that strategy also led to a much shorter shelf life. Based on an $850 million domestic final gross, 91% of its total will come through its fourth weekend. That's the peak of a trend that's been on the uprise for decades. Earlier era smashes like Gone with the Wind and The Sound of Music took a month or more to even reach the biggest cities, then played limited dates for up to a year before any sort of wide release. In the 21st century, 80% was the fourth weekend norm. Black Panther hit that mark, while Force Awakens was 87% and Infinity War was 88%. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We hope you found these facts and figures as intriguing as we did. If there's another film you'd like us to cover, then let us know in the comments section. Until next time.